All right, so we're back and we are ready um to explore the white paper, right? So the Golem Project crowdfunding white paper, final version, November 2016. That's a long time ago. So the table of contents, overview of the Golem project, grand vision and core features, Golem as an ecosystem, supply of infrastructure, demand for computing resources, software and microservices, the first use case, CGI rendering, long-term vision, Golem as a building block of Web 3.0, Golem network token, application registry, transaction framework, resilience. Then we have roadmap, brass golem, clay golem, stone golem, iron golem, future integrations, crowdfunding summary, budget and levels of funding, golem team, managers, key developers, business development and communication. Alright, I think that's the last thing. Business development and communication. So the overview of the Golem project, grand vision and core features. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm reading in my mind you. So yeah, reading white papers can get pretty boring, but it's uh it's an unavoidable part of research, right? Now we would have been able to do without reading the white paper, assuming the docs wasn't so uh technical. Okay. So I think this is the framework, right? This is how the system is structured. So you have software developers, software solutions, you have payment for software usage. Okay. Then you have providers, you have individual hardware, payment for hardware usage. Okay. And then you have computing resources going to requesters. Interesting. Okay. So I think basically the way the diagram, right, is supposed to flow. And mind you, I've not done this before, so I'm just going based on what I see, right? I think software developers and providers both, because you have arrows pointing down, right, and arrows pointing up, so they both contribute resources to the Golem infrastructure, right? And then the Golem application registry. So Golem then distributes or uh provides, right, computing resources to requesters, right? And these requesters are most likely also software developers. But in this case, I think they are offering software solutions, while these ones are collecting or receiving, software solutions. And then they pay for the hardware usage, they also pay for the software usage, right? I think. I mean, that's what I've been able to deduce from this, you know, diagram. Okay. I think it makes sense, right? Because they are describing like the whole the economy basically. So money comes in through these guys, right? Who users of the network. So they pay to use the hardware, they pay to use the software, and then Golem provides it to them. And then it's like a feedback loop because the more they come back, the more they have to pay, and then Golem network or Golem infrastructure delivers the service to them. Okay, Golem as an ecosystem. Okay, so Golem's business case boils down to the fact that due to relatively recent technological advances, the market for computing resources can be organized according to entirely new principles. In contrast, the compute market today is dominated by heavyweight players such as Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and IBM, who leverage their market power and assets to ensure hefty margins, resulting in inefficiently priced compute services. Luckily, the market is not doomed to function this way forever. So they are stating the problem, right? The problem they are trying to solve, the issue that brought them into the industry, basically. With Golem, the supply of computing resources is based on contributions of individual and professional providers, combined with an array of dedicated software solutions via Golem's application registry, itself operating on a single and competitive market with nearly complete information market. Scaling the compute market enabled by Golem requires onboarding three groups: suppliers of computing resources. Okay, I think they are trying to explain that diagram above. Suppliers of computing resources, which they have tagged providers; task creators, which they have tagged as requesters, who submit their tasks to be computed by the network; and of course, software developers. These three groups comprise Golem's unique interdependent ecosystem. Okay, so we have the group, the Golem features, and then their incentive to participate. So requesters get access to affordable and scalable solutions, which combine hardware and software. Golem offers tools to execute compute intensive tasks. You have providers. Hardware providers get paid for renting out their hardware. Golem combines and utilizes almost any kind of existing computing hardware. That's interesting. Then software developers use Golem as a distribution channel associated with access to hardware. Golem is a flexible platform to deploy and monetize software. So essentially the software building, right, that they were telling us about in their video snippets, right? In their snippets. Um that you can actually build, projects or products, basically software on Golem, and then I think that's what they are describing here. Okay, moving on. Supply of infrastructure. The supply of computing power to the network comes from providers. This could be anyone from an individual renting out idle CPU cycles of a gaming PC to a large data center contributing their entire capacity. Providers have the incentive to join Golem because they receive payments from requesters for the completed tasks. This is this is exactly what a white paper should do. They tell you all the intricacies, exactly how they are. And this business model is very um what's the word? It's very practical, right? There's this rule in entrepreneurship, right? Where they say if you can't describe your business within 2 minutes, then you've not found out exactly why you're in business, right? But that video was like a minute plus, and they were able to tell us everything, at least maybe not in detail, but at least everything about the project, right? And anyone who watches that video would immediately get the whole story, or gets the main message. So yeah, this is what the white paper should do, right? It's meant to give you the it's meant to show you how they make money, right? On the front and back end. It's meant to show you, how money flows in and out. All of that basically. Um okay. So yeah, of course, Golem's user interface will be easy to use, giving providers a clear way to set prices and decide what fraction of their own idle resources they are willing to rent out. Demand for computing resources. In order to reward providers for contributing their resources, Golem needs to attract requesters seeking additional computing resources. The market Golem creates will be highly competitive due to nearly complete information and the ease of deploying tasks on any hardware. This will not only make using Golem simple, which will attract requesters. Highly competitive setup will also increase efficiency of the market, very likely resulting in much more comprehensive and advantageous pricing compared to the existing cloud computing platforms. So I think the a benefit of using Golem, or one of the features they want to use to attract, customers, is that they are the cheaper alternative, right? So you could get computing services anywhere else, but you will get it cheaper on Golem. One important feature is that Golem's marketplace will enable requesters to become providers because most of them will need additional resources only occasionally. They will be able to rent out their own hardware and earn extra fees. In addition, financial aspects are not going to be the sole incentive to use Golem. One of its key features will be the availability of diverse software running on the Golem network, accessible from the application registry. Okay, so they are saying, money is not going to be the only driver of this economy, right? We will also be attracting people um, with our software hosting or software, you know, creation and um, availability platform, right? So it will be like a secondary incentive, or an additional incentive, maybe not secondary but an additional incentive. Then software and microservices. Although some initial use cases such as CGI rendering are going to be developed and implemented by the Golem team, it is essential to engage other software developers to develop their own ideas for Golem applications. The number and quality of such applications is one of the key factors in Golem's future success. Okay. I think what they are trying to say is, or what they are saying is that, their own, that's the team, right? Their own software is not is not going to be enough to sustain the system long term. So they are going to need to attract or collaborate with other software developers who have other ideas for, applications. And that's a cool forward thinking project, right? Or that's a cool forward thinking mindset. The number and quality of such applications okay, I read that. For this reason, the application registry and transaction framework are among the most important features of the entire ecosystem and will be front and central to the development process. Once introduced, they will provide developers with flexible and efficient tools to deploy, distribute, and monetize software running on Golem. Okay. This is going to be a perfect solution for microservices and some of the forthcoming decentralized applications, but could also become an interesting way to distribute existing proprietary and open source software. And then they went on to show us the first use case, CGI rendering. CGI is a concept in the movie industry, right? Computer generated imagery. Yes. Okay. CGI rendering using Blender. It is public. Follow the link to test column. CGI rendering is the first and very illustrative case of real Golem usage rather than using costly cloud based services or waiting ages for one's own machine to complete the task. CGI artists can now rent compute resources from other users to render an image quickly. The payment from a requester, in this case a CGI artist, is sent directly to providers who made their resources available. In addition, when the artist's machine is idle, it can itself accept tasks from other users. Long-term vision, Golem as a building block of Web 3.0. We believe the future internet will be a truly decentralized network, enabling users to securely and directly exchange content without sharing it with corporations or other middlemen. Accordingly, Golem will be useful not only to compute specific tasks but also to bulk rent machines in order to perform operations within a self-organizing network. Of course, this will require the simultaneous development of other technologies, many of which have gained significant traction in recent years. Better data sharing technologies are necessary, but taking into account the ongoing development of IPFS stroke Filecoin and Swarm, the appropriate solutions seem to be within reach. Eventually, the Ethereum network will become more scalable, more efficient, and include a fully functional network of micropayment channels. Once these technologies become available, it is easy to imagine Golem primarily as a platform for microservices, allowing users to run both small, e.g. a note-taking app, and large, e.g. a streaming service applications, streaming service rather, applications in a completely decentralized way. Although ambitious, this vision seems to be the ultimate argument for Golem's long-term potential. That's going to be a lot. Imagine running something like Netflix on Golem. I mean, Netflix is really really big, and they might not get a significant, okay, except maybe for Apple TV, but they might not get a significant competitor in a while. But yeah, a decentralized streaming service is going to be, but then it's just an example. There are a whole lot of other large applications, right? All right. So we've Golem Network token. Interesting. So I think they are about to tell us about the token itself. But in 6 pages, right? In 6 pages, they've been able to explain why their project exists, explain how they are trying to, or how they are going to deliver their service, right? And they've been able to tell us what they think is going to be their, usefulness or utility in the long term. So I mean, this project is, at least for one, they are honest, right? They are honest, they are straightforward, and they are smart. These are very smart people. I mean, to be able to build a project of this caliber. So yeah, they've been able to tell us all of that. Now, I would have said the project is profitable, but I still think we don't have enough information to come to that conclusion yet. So let's read on. Golem Network token. The Golem Network token. Now they're telling us about what we actually came for, right? the token itself. The Golem Network token account is a core component of Golem and is designed to ensure flexibility and control over the future evolution of the project. GNT is created during the crowdfunding period described in this white paper and following the first major release of Golem. GNT will be attributed a variety of functions in the Golem network. So this literally is the utility, right? They are spelling out the utility of the token. So payments from requesters to providers for resource usage and remuneration for software developers is going to be exclusively conducted in GNT. Exclusively, I believe we know the meaning of exclusively. Once the application registry and transaction framework are implemented, GNT will be necessary for other interactions with Golem, such as submitting deposits by providers and software developers, or participation in the process of software validation and certification as described in the application registry section. The general conditions for using GNT will be set in the transaction framework, but specific parameters of these interactions will be possible to define within each software integration. The supply of GNT will be okay, we've gotten to tokenomics. The supply of GNT will be limited to the pool of tokens created during crowdfunding period. Okay, meaning once the crowdfunding period has ended, any tokens they haven't created by that point will no longer be created. So the basically what they said, right? I'm just trying to explain what they said. So no additional tokens will be created after crowdfunding, right? Then they said creation of the GNT and initial GNT account functionalities. The Golem Network token is a token on Ethereum platform. Its design follows widely adopted token implementation standards. This makes it easy to manage using existing solutions, including Ethereum wallet. Maximum number of tokens created during crowdfunding period. Total 1 billion. So the total supply is going to be 1 billion. Crowdfunding participants 82%, Golem team 6%, Golem factory GmbH. Not sure what that means, but probably a man. I don't know what it means. I honestly don't know what it means. 12%. Then sending one ether to the GNT account will create 1,000 GNT. No token creation, minting, or mining after the crowdfunding period. Tokens will be transferable once the crowdfunding is successfully completed. Okay, so they are saying um the way the creation works, right? Once somebody sends one ether to the GNT account, 1,000 GNT will be created. So 1 to 1,000. So for 1 billion, that would be around 1 million ETH, right? Yes, about that. About 1 million ETH. That's a lot of ETH though. But okay, I think they were successful because this is like so many years later and the token exists. So I think they were successful. The application registry, they are continuing to describe the project, all of that. Resilience roadmap. In this section, we present planned milestones for Golem development. Okay. Right, project timeline. So brass is first, right? So we're going from up to down. So brass golem, basic task definition scheme, basic application registry. There's a whole lot here, right? But essentially you would, you know, need to take your time, right? And go through each of them. Go to market strategy. Okay. Alright, so their go-to-market strategy is describing, how they would market and basically get people on board, right? Get people on board and then get more people on board after that. And then they're describing it, one after the other. The brass golem, clay golem, stone golem, iron golem, then future integrations. There are numerous Ethereum dApps and future platforms currently under development or in alpha release. We see great opportunities in this environment, not to mention solutions that could potentially be used as part of Golem's ecosystem, either directly or as extensions. The following systems will be considered for integration, and their implementation will be dependent upon the release of production code and the complexity of integration. Payment channel solutions based on P2P routing and transactions, external decentralized identity services, and they have examples of each, right? Then external solutions for task verification or reputation, external solutions for storage, and then they have crowdfunding, right? So okay, they came back to say that 1,000 GNT per one ETH. They mentioned it again. I think they are okay. So maximum number of GNT generated 1 billion, of which the crowdfunding participants were 800 and oh rather the crowdfunding participants minted 820 million GNT, right? Of which Golem Team and Golem Factory GmbH combined to mint 180 million GNT. The crowdfunding address will be announced at the crowdfunding start through the following channels. Okay, so then the token hadn't existed, right? Token didn't exist when this white paper was written. But basically, they tried to tell them, potential crowdfunders where they would be able to see their where they would be able to get the announcement, right? So but yeah, I think at this point, personally, I feel like I have everything I need to make my decision, right? But before I do that, I want us to go through our um the criteria we defined when we made the previous video, right? And then we can use that to guide our final decision, right? But to to be honest, I am gravitating towards, I'm positive about this project, right? I like what I have seen so far. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? Let's use the template on ground, the criteria on ground. So I'm just going to drag this over here, right? Yeah, so they are both side by side. Okay, so conducting research part one. So this is the PowerPoint, right? So the first thing is market cap low to mid, and we've already decided that, or rather, we had already seen that the market cap was 300 something. You know what? Let's check it again. Let's just check it again. Why not? Um, Etherscan. Etherscan Golem. Golem network token. Okay, so the market cap hasn't increased much. It's still around the same price we saw it. Bitcoin experienced a pump, so between the last time um the last time we checked Golem, or the first time we checked Golem, and right now Bitcoin has moved almost 30 30 or so percent. So I was actually expecting it not to be around, but it's still somewhere around that same value. So it's not moving right now. Probably hasn't found the liquidity that it needs, or the demand that it needs. So that it needs to increase significantly. So the market cap is 334 million, right? $334 million, and mid that's mid to low. So it satisfies this, right? Low to mid. Then first mover. Is it a first mover? Is this the first of its kind type of project on the market? I would say yes, because in 2016 I don't think there were many projects offering this kind of service. But at the same time, I don't have the actual research, so I would put it at, even if they weren't first mover, at least they were among the earliest. They were at least among the first five, first 10 projects offering that in the market. So maybe not first mover, but very early. So let's go with that. Then relatively undiscovered, is it? Is it relatively undiscovered? Well, to an extent, they have a large community, right? So a lot of people know about it. Maybe they are not buzzing about the token, right? But a lot of people know about it. So it's actually not relatively undiscovered, but there's not a lot of hype or buzz around it, because if there was, it would be visible. It would reflect right on the market cap. And okay, let's check the daily volume. Let's check the daily transaction volume. Where would I see that now? uh Dex trades. So this is 2 hours ago, this is 12 hours ago, this is 13 hours ago. So there's not a lot of, you don't have like seconds ago, few seconds ago, few seconds ago. So it's not getting a lot of, uh what's the word, a lot of attention. But I can see that it's being picked up, right? People are actually, like, the people that are actually buying it. There are not many, but the people that are actually buying it are actually buying lots of it, right? If you check the value to transaction value, right, this is $6,000, $1,300, $6,000, 600, and these are all buy transactions, right? By different addresses. So I think it's we could say it is relatively undiscovered, because it's not getting a whole lot of, and as we scroll downwards you can see that the time difference is kind of wide, right? You have 13 hours, you have 16 hours, you have 23 hours ago, right? And then we scroll down further and we see that it's not getting frequent transaction. The transactions are sizable, right? Transactions are actually sizable, but you don't really have, and then there's almost an equal amount of buyers and sellers. So this person sold 50,000 golem for $16,000, and then we see that three of the people that bought before, okay, this person bought for like 12k dollars, $12,000, right? but with 4 ETH. So yeah, I think based on this, right, we actually have the data, the raw data, right? So based on this, I would agree that it is actually relatively undiscovered. Relatively is the watchword here. Then solid use case that you understand, we've covered that. So just to reiterate, they are a service that offers cloud computing for cheap, right? And the way it works is that people who need services pay with the Golem token. They get the service, and then the person who they get the um resources, and then the people who contributed those resources get paid, right? And that's that. Then team. Okay, let's go back to the white paper and see what. Okay, yeah. I think they had. Sorry, let's scroll back up a bit. Yeah, they said something about the team. Okay, Golem team. Let's just click that so it takes us straight there. Okay, Golem team. Blah 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 and blah. Since 2008, 2006, and 12. Okay, so they just gave like a snippet of a brief history, right, of the members of the team, but we can obviously see that these people are not afraid to show their faces, right? So we have Julian Zawistowski. That's a very crazy name. Yeah. Okay, well, it's not a crazy name. It's just a name I've not heard before. Let me put it like that. I don't want to offend anybody. And this is his picture, right? And then we have Piotr. I don't want to murder this name. Okay, Piotr Vigith Janiuk. Yanyuk, right? Yeah, I think it's Yanyuk. He has an MSc in mathematics and an MSc in computer science. Two master's degrees. That's interesting, right? And then we have so basically we've covered that. The team is not, they have like the whole team, right, and all of the employees, or a couple of the employees. Okay, this is the last. Okay, team is actually the last thing in the because this is page 28 and yeah. So we've confirmed that the team is visible and not hidden. Then community, yeah, I said use your own discretion, right? But to me, this community is large enough, right? Then audits, we weren't able to find an audit actually, but something I forgot to add is that audits are required when the token is still relatively new, or when the token is yet to exist, right? But I think they would have an audit somewhere, but I don't want to guess, right? I don't want to guess, but based on what we've let me see, this is their website. Let me see if they have an audit anywhere. No, this is their docs. This is their website. Okay, they didn't say anything about an audit though. They didn't say anything about an audit, but I I wouldn't be afraid, right, to deal with a project like this, regardless of the fact that they don't have an audit. Since they are, they've been very, very, very open, right? They've been very straightforward, very open, very honest. So personally, I would I wouldn't mind the fact that there's no audit. Then liquidity, we've seen a bit of the trading volume, right? So we can be sure that there's liquidity, right? There's a good amount of liquidity. Okay, for people to be trading in these amounts, then there's a good amount of liquidity. I think I can count the number of five figures. So this is $10,000 plus. This is 16,000 plus dollars. This is another 10,000 plus dollars. 12,000 plus dollars. 16,000 plus dollars again, right? And then you have majority of the trades in four figures. So if they can support this level of trading, then there's liquidity, right? There's actually liquidity. So I wouldn't be afraid. Let's see the info. So the 24-hour volume is $22 million. This project definitely has liquidity, a good amount of liquidity, a solid amount. So there's no question about that. Moving on, uh, tokenomics. We check the tokenomics, marketing. What's the word? They explained a bit, about their go-to-market strategy, which is basically marketing and advertising. Where is it now? Sorry, where they were talking about yeah, this go-to-market strategy, right? So it's obvious that they are doing um a good job trying to attract users and customers and all of that. So yeah, they have a solid go-to-market strategy, a solid marketing strategy rather. Then marketplaces stroke exchanges that they are on. How do we do that? How do we check that? So from this, okay, so yeah, let's use coin market cap. We could use dex screener, but let's just use coin market cap. It's convenient, right? It's convenient right now. So we're linking to coin market cap straight from where now? From Etherscan, right? From Etherscan. So I'll just search Golem. So we just want to see the markets that they are trading on. I'm pretty sure they are trading on a whole lot of. And if you remember, they showed in their docs, right? Let's go back. They showed in their docs how to get the token and all of those places. They showed. Let's check it again, right? Let's check it again, right? So they showed us a couple of places where you can get the token. GLM is available on several leading exchanges, and you can get it on all of these. So this is one, two, okay. Um, okay, decentralized exchanges. So this is one, two, and Uniswap is really big, right? So you have one, two. That's among decentralized exchanges. Uniswap is really big. So you have one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different exchanges, including centralized and decentralized ones. But let's see what CoinMarketCap has for us. There's not a lot of activity on the chart. Just a quick glance at the chart, right? It's mostly sideways. There's not a lot of movement. So we're looking for markets, right? So this is we're at markets. So this they have 10, the same 10 that they had on the in the docs, right? Okay. There are a whole lot more markets. This is showing 1 to 10 out of 108. Let's see page 2. Binance US. Wow, they are on a whole lot of exchanges. A whole lot of exchanges. So safe to say they are, yeah. Although the liquidity or the trading volume is not so high on other exchanges, but it's at least the first 10, no matter how bad it is, you would have an account on at least one of these, right? And then you would just buy it and move on with your life. All right, I think I'm looking for Bybit. Okay, I don't. I think it seems like they are not listed on Bybit. But basically, we have what we need, right? We have what we were looking for. Okay, they just repeated some of the exchanges because I can see KuCoin and there was KuCoin on the first page, but um the pairing is different. So it was GLM USDT on the first page. It's GLM BTC here. So maybe they just exaggerated with this value of 108, right? But essentially, we know that we've confirmed that they are available on multiple marketplaces and exchanges. Then projects should support current and future trends. I think this is a check, right? I think this is we've well, I'm satisfied with what the project has on ground and what they are planning to do in the long term. Then you have daily volume 100K plus. Their daily volume was like 22 million, so that's it definitely checks this, and then can be adopted by a wider market. Okay, now this is it doesn't really check this, right? Because the market is niche. It's for a specific kind of uh customer, right? But all the same, I mean, this is it checks a lot of the boxes. It doesn't check all of them, but it checks a good number of the boxes. So, and it's not getting a lot of buzz, and that's where you want to be. That's the time you want to be investing, not when everybody's talking about it. You want to be invested when you know. So I personally think this project is good, right? I would 100% put my money in this. Yeah, I would actually put my money in this. From three, the market cap is $300 million, 300 and something $million. Let's just say 300, right? From there to 1 billion is like 3x or so. From there to 10 billion is way, way more. So it's like 13x, or well, 13, 14x thereabouts. Yeah, but I would okay, let's just confirm that. Let's actually do the math. So we have 300, and let's copy this, right? And then we'll divide this value. No, let's remove the dollar sign. We'll divide this, we'll use this value to divide 10 billion and see what we get. So let me just search calculator. Okay, so one, one, two, three. Okay, we have 10, right? So 10 billion, right? So 10, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's nine zeros. 10 with nine zeros divided by, then let me just paste it in there. It's not letting me type. What's happening? Oh boy. Okay. It's not seeming to let me type. But let me see. So let me paste it rather. It's not letting me paste it. Let me get that value again. Let me just get it quickly in my head. 3 3. Okay, let's just use this 334 right in front. 334 million. And then we'll try it again. So 10, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 10 billion divided by 334, right? Then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 334 million. And let's see what that gives us. 29x. So from here to 10 billion is 29x. That's a very, very that's okay. Let's $1,000 is $1,000 will give you $29,000, right? And that's a very good return as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, this is we've done like a full research. I'm looking for the website, Golem website, right? So yeah, we've done full research on Golem token. Okay, let me go back to the white paper on Golem token, right? The Golem project, and we've been able to check the offerings of the project against our criteria, and we have seen that it takes at least 80, it takes around 80 to 90% of the boxes. So safe to say this is going to be a very good investment if everything goes well, right? If the project gets the market penetration that it's um it requires, right? And if the product is able to get become a market favorite among customers, be able to become a customer favorite rather, this project is actually going to be a whole lot more um profitable, right? So from here to $10 billion is a long way. So yeah, this is actually the end of the course. I might do an additional video, a couple more videos, but as far as I feel at this point, as far as I know rather at this point, at this very moment, I think I've covered all that needs to be covered. So yeah, thank you so much for sticking with me through the course. Um well, I wouldn't say see you in the next section, so it's a wrap. So yeah, thank you so much. In case you see additional videos, it will be or additional modules, it would probably be because I felt I missed something, or I get a question about something that I feel like I didn't um touch, properly, or I might just do a part two of the course, right? Like a continuation of the course in another course on its own, right? Like like a season two of a series. So yeah, thank you all so much for your time, and God bless you.